I'm Rosemary. Welcome back to my channel. Today's fiddle tutorial is going to be on the famous fiddle tune, Said She Couldn't Dance. Now for this one, I'm going to lay out the tutorial by teaching you the notes, then we'll play it slow, medium, and then there really isn't a whole lot to talk about when it comes to adding those embellishments to expand and make it sound like a real fiddle tune. It's a pretty simple tune, but I'll make a couple suggestions at the end that you can take or leave if you want. As usual, I'm going to keep those timestamps below, so if you're feeling like you want to skip ahead or you've caught on really quick and you're ready to move on to the next step, feel free to use those timestamps. Let's get started. So there's a couple of important things that are sort of new in this particular tutorial that I want to explain right away. The main thing is the concept of the slur. This is something that I haven't talked about in any of my tutorials so far, and if you're new to violin, this might be something that's a little bit tricky for you, so I want to give you that chance to have a look at it. If you already know what a slur is, feel free to skip ahead. A slur is when you're playing more than one note with your bow at the one time. So you're playing more than one note in one direction, if that makes sense. So if you were to play your bow on one long bow, you could put, that's one bow, or you could put more than one note on that one bow. And you can slur as many notes as you want. So this tutorial, I think, really only uses 2 notes at a time. But there's things that you can do to practice that. So you can just practice doing just one note at a time, adding on your pointer finger and taking it off, or just practice doing more than one finger per bow. So if you want to try that really slow first, let's just try 0, 1, 0, 1 on the A string. So A, B, A, B. 1, 2, ready, and... So that's what a slur is, and for those of you who are new to that, you might want to take some time and just work on that one aspect before we start playing this tune, or you can play all the notes separate and just ignore the slurs. I think it sounds way better with the slurs, so use your judgment. The other thing that I never mentioned before was the concept of an up and a down bow. So when I talked to you in the bow video, where I was talking about the bow hold and different exercises that you can do, you have the concept of up like a rocket, down like the rain, side to side like a choo-choo train. So that idea, up like a rocket and down like the rain, that is an up bow and that's a down bow. And it makes sense when you're looking at the bow like this, gravity, right? It's very vertical, but when your bow is going to side, it's a little bit harder to understand what that up bow is. So if you're really confused, hold your bow out in front of you, up, down. Alright, so let's get started on the actual tune, Said She Couldn't Dance. So as you know before, we have your A section and your B section on a lot of these tunes. This particular tune has an A and a B section, so we'll start with the A section. And the A section starts on the A string. We start most fiddle tunes on a down bow, so to start this tune is the A, then we cross over to that D2, which is our F sharp, then no fingers, 1, which is our E, F sharp, then we've got our first slur, and that's on an up bow. So we're going to slur from our F sharp to our G. That's all it is. We can just try that slur again, F sharp to G. Okay, let's try putting those together. So it's A, F sharp on the D, 0, 1 on the E, F sharp, slur, yeah, and then you're ready to start the next part of the tune on that down bow, so you don't get turned around that way. So we go back to the A, F sharp, 0, 1, which is your E, F sharp, 2, 1, E. So we've got 2 different endings to that if you want to look at it that way. So we have this, that's the same both times, A, F sharp, D, E, and then the first ending is 2, slur, and the second ending is 2, 1, 1. So once you get those 2 endings, it's a little bit easier to memorize it and know what's coming next. Then we continue on with the A section, doing the same parts that we've already done, which is A, F sharp, 0, 1, 2, 2, 3, which is the same as what we've done before, but the ending of the tune is a bit more of a dotted rhythm, so it's long, short, long. So it goes like this. So it's long, short, long, steady. And those fingerings are A, 1, B, A, D2, which is our F sharp, then E, 1, 0, 0. So let's just do that ending together. 1 and 2 and ready and... Good! So let's try stringing that whole thing together. And if you feel like I'm moving too quickly, you can go back and start the tutorial section for the A section again. So here we go. 1, 2, ready, and... And if you'll notice, when I did it that time, when I ended the first half of the tune, you end on a down bow, but I kind of wanted to start with the down bow again, so I did what's called a circle bow, which is when you lift your bow up and you make a little circle, and then you land back on the same spot where you wanted to start. So sometimes you can almost make a little grape shape with your bow. So I'm making a circle about the size of a grape. And when you're doing different types of songs, those circle bows might be bigger or smaller. So you could do a big basketball-shaped circle bow. So there's lots of different options there. So with that in mind, we're going to try doing the tune again, but have those circle bows put in. Let's do this slowly. 1 and 2 and ready and... Slur. Circle bow. Slur. Good. Now we're going to go on to the B section. With that B section, we're going to start with a circle bow because we want to stay on that down bow to start the next section. So we'll end and circle bow and land on that A string. So the B section starts on the A string. It sounds like this. So to do that, we'll start on our open A, play 2 notes, then we go to our B, which is our finger 1, then our C sharp, then our D. So we're just adding 1 finger at a time, 0, 1, 2, 3. So it sounds like this. 1 and 2 and ready, go. And then this tune, if you've heard it in different ways, some people might do it in different rhythms. So this fiddle tune, I mean, obviously different fiddle tunes are learned through the oral tradition, which means that people pass it on by playing it, and then people pick it up by ear and then pass it on to the next person. So it's like a game of telephone. The notes and rhythms do change a little bit over time, and there's lots of different ways that people play these tunes, but I'm going to play this tune with a simple, sort of a dotted rhythm, which is nice and interesting, but not too hard. So it'll sound like this. Okay? If you want to simplify that, you could go and not cross over and not do the dotted rhythm. So that's another option, but I think it sounds nice when you do that extra sort of dotted rhythm. So long, short, long. So it goes like this. A, B, C, B, A, then we cross over to the D and put our F sharp on. So A, B, C sharp, B, A, D2. For those of you who need the finger numbers, it's A, 1, 2, 1, A, D2. Okay? Let's try that ending together. 1 and 2 and ready and... Let's try the whole B section that we've learned so far. So we'll start on the open A string. We'll start adding that one finger down at a time. So starting on that open A. 1 and 2 and ready and... Good! Now the second half of the B section sounds like this. We've learned the same parts already. And we're going to end it the same way that we end the A section. Oh, I've got a puppy visiting. He likes to check out what I'm doing when I'm playing these fiddle tunes. He likes hearing the fiddle tunes. We just had a snowstorm, so he's a little bit snowy. Hello! So if you hear some movement, that's him sort of puttering around the office. So we're going to finish off the B section the same way we finished off the A section, which is A, E, A, D2, 1, 0, 0. Pretty simple. So let's play that again, just the ending. A, E, A, F sharp, E, D, D. So now we have the whole B section. Let's try playing the whole B section now. 1 and 2 and ready, go! And sometimes you might hear this tune done where people go... This is a D, and then a 1, so our B. So it sounds like this. So you can choose whether or not you want to add that extra note. It adds a little bit of color. So now we have the whole B section. Let's try playing that one more time, and then we'll move on to playing the whole tune start to finish. B section, 1 and 2 and ready and... Nice! Alright, let's try playing the whole tune start to finish, starting on that A string. 1 and 2 and ready and... Slur, circle bow, circle bow, circle bow, slur. B section. Again. Nice! Alright, let's try playing it a little bit faster. 1, 2, ready, and... Nice. So now there's not a whole lot that I usually add to this tune to make it sound more fiddly or professional, because the tune itself is actually, it's a nice lilting tune. There's a lot that's happening with the bow already to make it sound nice and emphasized. You can add some more strength to the down bows here and there. And also something I like to add is a chord. So if you're playing the B section, sometimes I'll do that, which basically what happens is I place my finger 3 on the A string, so I'm playing a D, and then I'll put my finger 2 on the D string on that F sharp. So I'm blocking off 2 notes at the same time to make a nice chord. And if you have those tapes on, it's really easy to make them sound really in tune. So yeah, that's your D and your F sharp. Which is actually, I guess you're playing a D chord in this particular context. There's no D in it, but that's essentially what's happening. So you can do it like this. 1, 2, ready, and... And you can put a 1 on the G string on your A to end off on that last chord too, which is nice. So you can block off those 2 notes together with that A down and the open D. So you're also playing sort of an inverted D chord. So to the end, it would sound like this. So those are some nice things that you can add if you want to just add a little bit of extra color to the tune and make it sound a little bit more professional. That's it for now. If you liked this tutorial and you want to keep up with it, feel free to like and subscribe. And I also have some tutorials coming out every Monday on how to play different fiddle tunes, and on Fridays sometimes I'll be adding some tips and tricks on how to play the violin and some other things that might help other musicians or people in the music industry or whatever I'm thinking of that week. But every Monday will be a tutorial, so keep track. Thank you so much for supporting my channel, and I hope to see you next week. See you later.